Hi everyone, welcome back and welcome to my new series, and I name it as Break a Leg series as I am currently grounded at home and can't travel that much. So unlike my previous travel vlogs, this new series highlights my most favorite provinces, and in each episode I'm going to take you on a journey across one single province. And in this very first episode, I'm going to take you to my most favorite province among all those Chinese provinces, a place that I would recommend to everyone. It is this one, Yunnan province. Yunnan, meaning south of the colorful clouds, a mountainous province where the Tibetan Plateau cascades into lush tropical rainforests. Home to 26 ethnic groups, Yunnan spans an incredibly diverse landscape, creating a land of extremes. In the northwest, the terrain rises into Tibetan Plateau, crowned by Kawagabo at 6,740 meters. From the sacred Menglian Snow Mountains to Shangri-La and Lijiang, Asian towns open up to breathtaking view of snow-capped peaks. The west lies three parallel river region, or three great rivers, the Lancang, Upper Mekong, the Jinsha, Upper Yangtze, and Nu, Salween, carved through deep valleys, separated by towering mountains. This remote area is home to some of the oldest and most isolated mountain communities. In the heart of Yunnan, the temperate Yunnan-Guizhou highlands sit at an average altitude of 2,000 meters, basking in eternal spring. Cities like Kunming, Dali, Jianshui, and Mile enjoy a mild climate all year round, with fertile lands yielding abundant produce. To the east, there are beautiful karst landscapes, while to the south, humid rainforests stretch towards Myanmar, Laos, and Vietnam, where Chinese heritage meets Southeast Asian influences. You'll find sprawling rice terraces, thousand-year-old tea plantations, bustling market days, and lively festivals. Yunnan people are unfailingly warm. I couldn't remember how many times I got invited and just sat down with locals. Yunnan cuisine is unique, from rose flower pastry to cheese, truffles, and mushroom, to strange bee larvae and sour ants. The ingredients here bring with freshness and imagination. So are you ready? Hit that like button, let me roll out the map, and let's visit those incredible spots one by one. Yanjin County is a small, little-known town in the northeastern corner of Yunnan, a place even many Chinese people have never heard of. From Kunming, I took a long bus ride, arriving nearly after nightfall. The next day when I woke up, a peculiar cityscape popped in front of my eyes. Be careful. I'm a bit afraid of dropping my camera. There is a big mountain just on the other side. And the river. And the river again. It's pretty cool, isn't it? This bridge is the only bridge that cars can pass. It's about 100 meters long, and it's also the narrowest place in Yanjin. Another bridge would be about 5 kilometers away in the new town. The entire city is squeezed into a narrow valley between steep mountains, earning it the title of the narrowest city in the world. The buildings cling to the cliffs in a way that looks precarious, making many people question how safe it is to live here. Despite its unique geography, Yanjin functions just like any other small county town. Apart from that, Yanjin for me is just an average Chinese city. There is buses, there is taxis, and there are a lot of shops, clothes, cosmetics, hospital, whatever you want. So life is actually quite convenient.
干什么的？
我在拍视频。
拍视频来干啥？
拍视频给大家看眼睛。
Though in Yunnan, Yanjin's food and dialect are much more Sichuanese, the most common food are potatoes and tofu and rice, and the street is filled with vendors carrying fresh produce. Not far from Yanjin is Doushaguan, where a narrow road carved into the cliffs. I was crawling forward, but the locals walked down it as if it were flat ground.
你不怕吗？从那边走？
高管了。
习惯了。Honestly, I think as long as you don't look to this side, you will be fine because it's still quite wide. But if you look at the view on the left side, it's super scary.
Leaving Yanjin, I headed south. I went straight to Luoping. It was spring when I arrived, and the air was filled with the sweet fragrance of rapeseed flowers. The Cass Mountains stood like scattered mantle in the middle of the golden fields. I continued south to Mile. The city wasn't particularly special, but it had a relaxed and leisurely vibe.
On that table, 8 people are playing cards together. And in front of me, there are more.
Retirees gathered on the streets to play cards and perform. It was also in Mile that I first started noticing more and more locals dressed in colorful ethnic attire.
你们是哪个少数民族？
是哪我们是彝族了。
彝族的。
我们是
你们的衣服很好看。
好看你呢。
After a day of rest in Mile, I made my way to Jianshui, an ancient town with a bustling night market that draws crowds every evening. Jianshui is surrounded by many interesting sites. 1 hour drive to the north is Shadian, which hosts a significant Hui community. 1 hour drive to the west is Shiping, which hosts a lively market every week. Yunnan markets are my favorite. There is an incredible range of goods that you won't easily find elsewhere. I mean literally everything, from vibrant flowers to cheese and insects.
Oh, smells so good.
Shiping and Jianshui are both famous for their tofu. The local love grilling tofu until it puffs up, then dipping it in a flavorful spicy sauce. Even if you're not sure if you like it, they will always generously offer you to try.
Oh, 变大了耶！
看你看变大嘛，不变大就长脚那个的了。咋的啦？我所以说我舍不得给你吃。我吃点吧。
谢谢。When it was barbecued, it expands.
Further south, I came to Honghe and Yuanyang County in Honghe Prefecture. The elevation dropped at this corner of Yunnan and the temperature went up. Both Honghe and Yuanyang are built on the mountaintop. Though not far from each other, Honghe sits on a dry barren mountain, while Xinjie was surrounded by green lush forest. Xinjie is lively, with Yi, Miao, Hani, and Yao people all proudly wearing their traditional clothing, each village showcasing its own unique style. The paddy fields here grow red rice. The the only staple crop that can thrive in those cold mountain regions. This red rice is often used to make rice noodles, the most common breakfast in this area. In the early morning, the town is often shrouded in a sea of clouds, making it look like a floating city, a breathtaking sight. Life here isn't particularly wealthy. Some people still live in the most traditional mushroom houses, but the people are warm and hospitable.
They are also still making clothes for them by themselves, and they buy fabric from the market and then they sew by themselves. 那你们有缝纫机吗？
有，
也有是吧？
有。
但扣子什么的就都得手缝了。
裤子都包，衣服都包。
哦，裤子衣服都缝。
而且这是我们的女儿包，我也最看不见了，也最不下了。以前我们会做的。以前会做。现在今年我们55。哦。也最看不见了。哦。眼睛不好了。也最不还没事，我不会了。我们自己染的布。
自己染的是吧？
自己染布。
One day, I happened to get invited to a village feast. It's a traditional long street banquet, a collective dinner contributed by and bring together everyone. It's a ritual for all important days, be it festival, wedding, or funeral.
This is a basket and a lot of bowls. 一家办一桌是每一家出个桌子，
对，
然后碗筷，对，然后菜呢？
菜是对面家，对面就是自己对面家，
就他们一起做，
一起，这个是鸭子，
羊肉，
鸭子，这个是猪肉，
I actually have been to Ajikwe many times. 鸭蛋 and each time when there is a big event, when everybody eats together, they invited me. So I guess this is the third time that I sit down and eat with them.
Yunan also has markets and it rotates between different villages. I went to the one in New Jiaozhai village. This time I saw beautiful fabric, big water pipe, fresh bamboo sprouts, strange fungus, moss from the tree, and I discovered some new bugs. And then I sat in a smoky barbecue area and got invited by two brothers for some delicious grilled tofu and meat.
There are also a lot of tofu, so I want to try one piece. It's very tender. It's very juicy inside.
里面有拿加盐的，你懂不知道？
包浆豆腐。
里面有汁，自己做的。自己做的。
自己做的呀？
对。
From Yuanyang, I went westward to Xishuangbanna Autonomous Prefecture, near the border with Myanmar. This region has a distinct cultural atmosphere, home to a colorful mix of Dai, Bulang, Wa, and Lahu people. Many people may not know this, but Yunnan is the birthplace of tea. Lijiang and Xishuangbanna are famous for their ancient tea gardens, some of which have trees that are over 1,000 years old. Jingmai Mountain is one of the oldest tea-growing areas. The mountain is home primarily to the Bulang and Dai people, who share deep cultural ties and have been cultivating pu'er tea for generations. For the Bulang, every tea tree is believed to house a tea spirit, a manifestation of their ancestors' souls. Each spring, they welcome the new year with a sacred ceremony, sprinkling water to each other and placing a bag of tea in front of their tea ancestors. I went there in early spring, the tea picking season. I hopped onto a small truck with the tea farmers to join the harvest.
So since his tea garden is a bit far from the village, and we're going to pick a lot of tea leaves. And they've also brought, for example, their lunch, because it's going to be a whole day work. 就可以摘这么多是吧？从这个地方开始摘。
这个，我们像摘那么多可以嘛？我们现在我们随便摘嘛，你看瞧，你看瞧，好看。这个今晚上午要去炒，昨晚上午来炒。知道了。你看了不？好看个，好看不好看？
好看。
就是像不一样，这个古树。
长得很肥，
长得很。
Yunnan's pu'er tea differs from southern China's green tea. It is made from large leaf tea trees and is still processed using the traditional methods. Tea farmers burn firewood, hand roast the leaves, only use machines to dry them, and finally press them into tea cakes.
ไม่เล่นด่านดาปานเนี่ยเขาคิดจริงกัน
你给这个小姐姐帮你做我去。
Before visiting here, I tend to think that every family is quite rich because Jingmai pu'er tea is quite famous. But after staying for a few days, I've realized that it's actually not the case. So, yeah, that's what you can see. The living condition isn't very ideal, except for a few families that they live in a more central position. They are able to open a shop or restaurant. But most of the families who live on tea production, they are, so they don't really earn that much.
Most of these farmers live modestly. I want to make a wish. I hope more people will learn about Jingmaishan. I hope those who visit will go beyond the tourist spots, walk into the villages, step into the little houses hidden from sight, and buy tea from the locals. I wish for them to have a better life. Although the Jingmai mountain area has more Bulang people, Dai people dominates most of Xishuangbanna. They mostly live in a region with a flat land and a hot climate. The Chinese Dai and the Thai, Lao and Shan all originated from the same Asian Thai people, who are believed to have migrated from southern China into Southeast Asia over centuries. In Menglian, a small border city, the locals were celebrating the new year with a water splashing festival, and the entire city turned into a joyful battlefield. People drove trucks around, armed with water guns and buckets, chasing each other through the streets. Even monks joined in. At night, every village hosted a banquet, and I ran into one, and I was immediately warmly invited to join the feast.
They're so nice. They said I should hurry up.
来一起吧，谢谢。外婆添饭的。
谢谢啊。
你一个人吗？
对啊，我过来过泼水节。
如果是还有同事的话，过来一起吃。
你们是全村子一起过吗？
对呀。
哇，就不是一家一家的过，是整个村子。哇，
来，你将就一点吃。
蒸包肉，
都是猪肉。
猪肉，
全部都是猪肉，没有牛肉。
啊，都是猪肉。傣族是吃猪肉比较多吗？
什么肉都吃。
Heading west from Menglian into the mountains, I arrived at Ximenghua Autonomous County. On Ximen's mountains grow both tea and coffee trees, two world's oldest drink are sharing the same land. In Ximeng, Wa and Lahu people are the majority. On the other side of the border is Myanmar's most mysterious and isolated state, Wa State. Its population is also primarily Wa and Lahu people, so the two sides of the border share the same cultural ties. People who live on the border told me some stories about Wa State. They said wild animal parts are traded openly, such as tiger bone and ivory. Wa State feels like a mini China. People use Chinese yuan, rely on China Mobile for phone service, speak Chinese, and even use Chinese textbooks in school. But due to the instability in Myanmar, the border is now only open to local residents, and I would not recommend anyone to travel there. Ximen's mountain villages aren't well connected. To reach a small border town, I hopped onto a big, unlicensed truck that rumbled along the bumpy roads. After a long day shaky ride, I finally arrived at a village on the China-Myanmar border. And there I met a warm and friendly Lahu girl. She offered to take me around the village on her motorcycle, and together we visited different households.
哎，我们这边离缅甸边境有多少公里？
对面就是了。
对面就是。
对，南康五区，缅甸的南康五区。
哇。
我们就在边境线了，已经在最边境了。
对面是佤邦吗？
对，佤邦的南康五区，金三角的南康五区。
哦，你来喝呢？这个酒是我给你喝的，你要不要喝我？
不要抢我手机！
敢抢手机！
In Ximeng, hospitality flows as freely as liquor. The Wa people are truly enthusiastic drinkers. On my first day here, I ended up drinking so much that I could barely walk.
你看你喜欢谁的话，就那个。
哦，就是我要喝完了之后我要给那个。
不是，你要先
你要先找下一家。
对，你要找下家，你
就是喝酒也先找下家。
对。 如果找不到下家的话，你要喝2杯的，自己要喝2杯。
So
给这个主人家。
好。So according to this tradition, you have to which means you have to pass this glass to someone else before you start drinking. 然后我再喝是吗？
对。
要喝完吗？
对，这是像饮料，这是我们瓦兹饮料。
这是饮料。
瓦兹饮料。
你要护肝是吧？
对啊，
这个算小的了，平时都是一炸的，脚那么长的那个。
That rice wine is so strong. I have never been so drunk in my life.
No. Let's go.
这个酒实在是太后劲太大了，我从来都没有这么醉过。2杯。Two.
The next day, we continued visiting villages and met some local women. Some of them wore enormous earrings, though this is really seen nowadays. So this is a earring that looks like a big mushroom, and they can even put this into their ear, and they put banknote into it, so it's also a wallet. They were quite shy in the beginning, but after a few drinks, they let loose and started singing.
是啊，要跟我们来到我们这个地方，你们要跟我们一起，怎么样？我们是有什么习惯，你们也就跟着我们一起做，一起参加。
来哟来，新书在哟来，乐飘在，阿叔在哟来，新书在哟来，来。
酒也醒了，现在酒醒了吧，小野？
In Ximeng, my food adventure reached a different level, including food I had never shared with you because I was afraid it might freak you out. So I found big figs that grow on tree trunks. I had pork skin soaked in blood and chili flake. I harvested bamboo worms and water snails and cooked them in porridge and had a wide picnic with the locals using banana leaves as plates.
这是有很丰富的蛋白质，是不是？
对，是的。蛋白质非常。
它在我手里，你知道什么感觉吗？很痒，特别痒。哎，别，
帮你弄。
你觉得它像不像毛毛虫？三嫂现在放入了绝台。
对，这个很好。
二位也在那儿拍照。
你们不要惹我笑，我相机不防抖。
它还有汤。
每一块里面都没有虫。
这块有。nice.
From Ximeng, I passed through Baoshan, the hometown of Dianxi Xiaoge, a famous food vlogger. And then I arrived in Dali, an incredibly pleasant vacation destination. The climate here is comfortable and the food is always fresh. The city is pretty, with Tangshan Mountains at its back and Erhai Lake in the front. The ancient town of Dali is bustling with life, and its markets are a vibrant mix of colors and fragrance, overflowing with fresh flowers, all kinds of berries, and all kinds of mushrooms. Bai people are the natives here. They hang their colorful fabric in their yards and make a special kind of cheese called rushan. They ferment the milk, heat it up, and beat it into stretchy cheese. The fresh cheese ball tastes like mozzarella.
So I've got this rushan choto, and they also give me a chopstick. It looks like mozzarella, to be honest. Whoa.
and then they mix it with rose petals, pour and wrap the cheese around bamboo sticks, and dry it into a leather. From Dali, I set off on a motorbike journey, crossing several mountain passes before reaching a rustic little town hidden in the hills, Shaxi. The village was in full bloom with flowers everywhere. Leaving Shaxi, I traveled to Lijiang Autonomous County, near Sichuan and Tibet. Lijiang sits at an altitude about 2,400 meters. From there, the Yunnan Plateau transitions into the Tibetan Plateau. Lijiang has many Asian towns, and it is primarily home to Naxi people. I stayed in a youth hostel in Baoshan Asian town, where I could see the majestic Jade Dragon Snow Mountain through my window.
The weather is sunny but also super windy, so I wear this jacket outside my motorbike suits, and I just use a lot of skin moisturizer and sunscreens because the sunlight is also strong.
From Lijiang, I rode along the G214 Yunnan-Tibet National Highway. As I continued northwest, the mountains got higher and the altitude kept rising. After that lovely performance, I hit the road again, and in the afternoon, I reached Shangri-La's old town, Dequin.
I'm almost there, and this is a huge stupa at the roundabout.
Shangri-La stands over 3,400 meters above sea level. It was once called Zhongdian until it was renamed as Shangri-La, a fictional Himalayan utopia with an unknown location, after the mythical land in a 1933 novel, Lost Horizon. The old town of Shangri-La is called Dequin, which has two meanings in Tibetan language: castle on a rock or moonlight city. In the old town, I bought a yak yogurt and then joined the prayer wheel spinning ritual.
大姐，您是藏族吗？还是？我是藏族。啊，藏族的。有纳西族之类的吗？没有。哦，就是大部分人都是藏族。
这里是藏族。
哦，好，谢谢你啊。
拜拜。
拜拜。
Without the sugar, it's extremely sour, but I love it. The incense burner, 松树, the pine tree, they burn the pine tree needle leaves.
Shangri-La is home to the Little Patala Palace, Songzanling Si, the most important Tibetan Buddhist monastery in Yunnan. I found a small path leading to the monastery's highest point and unexpectedly avoid the entrance fee. Inside the monastery, there are a lot of extremely beautiful Buddhist paintings inside the monastery, but filming is not allowed. Shangri-La's high altitude made me feel exhausted, even from walking. So I made a detour to Weixi County, where the elevation is lower and I can take a rest. From Shangri-La to Weixi, I was riding downhills, and as I descended, I could breathe more easily.
Crazy! Even here, there are people who are living. Look at the small houses. That's a Tibetan village with white stupa. I really wonder what they do for a living. That's perhaps the only arable land. I think this is Jinshajiang. Jinshajiang is the upper stream of Changjiang River, Yangtze River, which is the longest river in China. By the time I reached Tacheng town, the landscape turned freshly green. Tacheng is a picturesque place. There is a particularly beautiful village called Tibet village, filled with terrace fields and walnut trees. Tibet village is small, but I found that it has many high-end hotels, including Songzan Tacheng, so I decided to treat myself to a stay in this luxury hotel. What is this? Is this copper? I mean, I don't need this level of luxury, but this is nice. I think they even upgrade my room. I didn't book a room with this view. I had a garden view, but now I think I have a view to the... Whoa, look at this. For the afternoon tea, they have small but very exquisite selection. Everything is local. So that's some nuts, almonds, some floury peanut, that's dried, something like dried yuzu. And she told me this is something local. It's something that they eat during wedding.
我们那个附近的话都是纳西族。
哦，都是纳西族的。
对，然后我们店里面的话，员工都是上面那个村庄里面的。
那你们上班可近了。
对，很近，从家里面走下来的话，一会儿就到这边了。哦，5、6分钟。
哎，那个纳西族和藏族穿的衣服啊什么的。
不一样，
也不一样，
也不一样。哦，但是藏族的那个服饰的话，它也比较那个华丽，也比较那个感觉是特别隆重的那种。然后因为我们这边是有这个达摩的祖师洞，从小的时候，然后我们这边的父母或者是我爷爷那一辈，他们都那个比较朝拜那个寺庙，所以就是我们是纳西族的，是相信的是藏传。
The next morning, I lingered a bit longer before leaving. The misty scenery was like a fairyland, and I saw some villagers were harvesting in a farm, so I went to them.
你好，
你好，
你好，拜拜，拜拜。
这就是要湿一点了。
哦，
你看一下。
哦，对，这个是长得饱满一些，大一点。
这个是大一点，饱满一点。
这个就还没有是吧？哈，有点瘪瘪的。
有点瘪瘪的。
这边是蚕豆哈。
啊，这个是蚕豆。
也是你们家的吗？
蚕豆是俺那家。就去大买生活。一家一家的回去了没？
那你是藏族还是
纳西族？
你也是纳西族的。
我们是纳西族，1杯就可以了。一天是割1杯1杯。
一天就割1杯，然后这个是自己吃吗？还是？
不是，牛烧喂。
哦，就是喂牛的。
啊，喂牛的。
啊，不是自己吃的。
不是自己吃的。
那青稞什么的呢？
这个青稞也喂牛的。
也喂牛呀？
啊，喂牛喂猪。
哦。这边
吃大米。
哦。
对，20天了，那么咱也了。
哦。原来是这样。谢谢，谢谢，
不客气。
我去把它挂到我的摩托车上。
摩托车前面挂起的了。
好的。Wonderful。拜拜。That's your home.
Leaving Weixi, I started driving along Jinsha River and passed by a pretty Tibetan town, Benzilan, on the border of Shangri-La and Dequin.
这里开始就是德钦了。哦。这里一出下去就是属于香格里拉以西就这个。哦。
谢谢。老板拿一个这个吧。
这个是5块的吗？
行。哎，我想问你一下，就是那个他们那些后面有一个披风的那个是什么族呀？
这些是吧？他们是尼西那里的。
哦，藏族的。
在那边才有，这里就没有，只有尼西才有。
哦，只有尼西才有。
这个已经是德钦了。
哦。
我们是属于香格里拉的。
你们是属于香格里拉的。
香格里拉才有的。
哦，就是香格里拉的藏族才会这样穿。
对。
啊，行。那这边是主要是藏族吗？
是的，这服装不同。
It turned out that all of them, they are the elderlies from one village from Nisi Cun, and then they come here together.
尼西村，他们村，
一起过来玩的，对吧
？They even invited me to have lunch together, but I'm afraid it will take too much time. So nice.
好的。
慢一点的。
好的，好的。拜拜。 们玩得开心啊！拜拜，拜拜，再见。To my left, that's 白马雪山。Wow, I feel so close to it.
From Benzilan, I drove onto the mountains. The temperature dropped suddenly.
再晚点，垭口会降温，降的是很快的。
行，好。我现在也走。
降的是很快的话，因为前天还下了就暴雪，可能没有化的雪，可能又重新结啊什么，晒一层水了以后一降温又结冰了。这赶快走。
行。
现在就天气好。
行，好的，我现在就走吧。
我们也准备走，这样的话，哪怕是有什么，还有个就照应，是不是？
好的。拜拜。
By the sunset, I reached a hilltop village with a view to the sacred Menglian snow mountain.
For the local Tibetans, all those mountains are holy mountains and can't be summited. And if summited, the protection god will leave them, and this will also lead to disasters. So for centuries, the local people, as well as the monasteries in this region, they have established a ritual to protect this geography. And every year, there are many pilgrims that walk the Kora around the peak. It's about 240 kilometers. And throughout the history, there had been 9 attempts, but none of them succeeded. And the one in 1991 comprised of members from China, from Japan. Soon after climbing, there was an avalanche, and all of them, the whole team, I think maybe about 17 people, they all got buried by the avalanche. And then finally in 2001, the local Dequin government made it a law and prohibit any climbing activity in Menglian Xueshan, especially to the Kawagalo, the peak.
The next day, I descended from Dequin. I made a detour southwest to Cizhong town, home to a 19th century Catholic church, a fusion of Chinese and Western architecture. Cizhong is a small town inhabited by mainly the Tibetans and Naxi people. On a Sunday morning, I attended Mass with locals. This is one of the most remote places in China. Yet, over a century ago, Western Catholic missionaries ventured here, preaching amid the dominant Tibetan Buddhist presence. Today, this is one of the rare Tibetan communities that practice Christianity. The church hymn carried the melody of mountain songs, creating a truly unique and mesmerizing sound.
相机？
我看看后面、前面。
对，这就是你。
我看看这边。这不是你，这太大了吧？你看。
When the missionary came here, they not only brought gospel but also French wine. So surrounding the church are some vineyard, and this grape variety is called rose honey, which is already extinct in France, but it stays here. The missionary also taught local people how to make wine, so today there are still few households who know how to make wine. "你好，去那个玉珠寺。玉珠寺。嗯，进去是吧？嗯，好，谢谢。你好。
Then I rode towards Dequin again. On the top of the mountains were monasteries. Perhaps the closer to the sky, the closer to the divine.
This is a famous Sanjiang Bingliu 区域, so the three parallel rivers. A few days ago, I saw Jinshajiang, which is the upper stream of Changjiang River, of Yangtze River. This is the second one, the one in the middle. And there is another one further in the south. It's called Nujiang, which is the upper stream of Southern River. And before the end of April, it's a rainy season. It rains a lot in the upper stream, and that's why the water is so sandy. At noon, I had a simple meal in a roadside restaurant, bread and fried cheese curds, and continued along the G214 highway. Donkey! What a huge contrast to what I've seen in the morning. Now the mountains are so arid and so dry. And I found that many villages along Lancangjiang grow grapes. I guess the climate is very good for grape production.
Gradually, the lush forest gave way to barren mountains, and I finally approached.
So look at here, Xizangjian, at the border of Yunnan province, Yunnan Deqing, and Xizang Mankang. Finally! I am here. Tibet Autonomous Region.